Captain Forest here, bringing you guys another death battle prediction video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over who I think wins more often than not in a death battle situation. Simone from Gurren Lagann versus Kyle Rayner, of course, from DC, representing as the White Lantern. Now, if you guys enjoy this type of content, please leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for further content. But anyway, I'm going to dive right in. Now, as for Gurren Lagann, I'm not super knowledgeable on the verse. I've only heard bits and pieces from power scaling videos from many years ago. I've heard hyperversal statements, scaling of course as well. But if you guys are well versed within that verse, please let me know in the comment section. Tell me your thoughts and your knowledge on the verse. I'll more than happily read it. But I'm mainly going to be covering the White Lantern ring. I'm a little bit more well versed in DC, so I'll be covering this portion for Kyle Rayner. Now, the White Lantern ring essentially is comprised of all of the emotional spectrums in one. It is essentially a composite ring. It's multifaceted. It can do many things due to having all of the emotional spectrums pretty much a part of that ring. As for the feats, for example, you've got Sinestro. When he first wielded the ring, he was able to, I believe that he fused with the anti-life equation, if memory serves me correct. So, and he did this with the ring as well. The emotional spectrums themselves as well, I want to mention this is very important, very powerful portion of DC. The emotional spectrums themselves reside around creation and reside around the source wall. This was before we got the updated and expansion of DC because the multiverse itself, like the DC cosmology, continues to grow. It continues to get bigger, and obviously the source wall was broken. So during that time period, before we had the massive upgrade within the verse, the emotional spectrums pretty much resided around the source wall. They were responsible for the emotionals, for the emotions within creation, within the multiverse. And we know about this because there is a scan, I'll try and get it on the screen, of some dude flying to, I believe he was trying to fly into the source. He saw the emotional spectrums, but obviously because of how profound the source is itself, the dude pretty much turned to nothing. But yes, the statements from that dude are valid, and it's shown, of course, because of how emotions run through creation. It's very similar, with magic in DC, how it's flown around creation, because obviously you have the sphere of the gods and other realms that are responsible for certain mechanics that are allowed to be used within that verse. So right there and there, source wall scaling, that's easily, depending on your interpretation of the DC multiverse, that is easily some outerversal stuff, high outerversal, boundless, or extraversal, if you want to use that meta. But for people who don't like using, the extraversal stuff, there's high outerversal or boundless or simply outerversal. But yeah, the realms are so profound. The realms, like the way the dimensions are stacked. By the way, I'm speaking in the context of, because this is the thing, right? People always get DC wrong because they don't know how to scale it. That when, name fallacies and things like that, when we talk about the fifth and the sixth dimension, these people actually really think they're dimensional, like they're bound by dimensionality. They're not your normal everyday space-time universal structures. These are things far beyond dimensionality as a whole. So yes, if you go up the ladder, the hierarchy, the emotional spectrums reside around that tier, bro. The emotional spectrums are very powerful. So right there and there, you've got some crazy stuff for that. And there's also a scan of Kyle Rayner in the future, who wielded the White Lantern ring. He literally fused with the source. Now, that's some pretty crazy stuff. And there's just many other feats that the White Lantern ring has performed. But right there and there, like just using just the standard stuff and the statements and the showings, like that easily puts Kyle Rayner pretty high up on the list. So who do I think wins in this scenario? Honestly, if we're using creation level scaling for Kyle Rayner with the White Lantern ring, I think it's very, very predictable that he will easily defeat Simone. Even if you give, Simone his best scaling, it's just not enough. Even if you downplay the emotional spectrums and only have them high outer versal, you can stack layers easily, outer versal plus, high outer versal plus. So it doesn't matter how you slice this cake. The White Lantern ring is way too powerful. DC itself, the verse itself, is just absolutely cracked. So I think it's just pretty much a one shot. It's a blitz, especially with how the speed tiering system works in DC. I've gone over it many times in my videos, so please check those out. I go over the immeasurable and the irrelevant speed scaling, and I talk about it on many occasions. In fact, you have, I believe it was not even just Kyle Rayner, but I believe it was like how Jordan himself, he has his own like independent irrelevant speed feat and some other lanterns. So it's really, really crazy with DC. But anyway, personally, I just think it's a one shot. It's a blitz, and the ring is way too hacksy. The ring can do many things, and there's just nasty conceptual abilities that the ring possesses, and it's just out of Simone's pay grade. But anyway, that's my thoughts and my prediction. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for the content. But yes, it has been real. I'll see you folks in the next one. Peace.